Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ango Show. We are live. It's your boy, Ango, aka Tony Khan's best friend, and today I'm joined by Billy TKO. It is May 6, 2025. Today we are live. We're going to talk a little bit about WWE Raw. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff happening in pro wrestling because there is a lot of stuff happening in pro wrestling.
For sure.
Billy, what it do, my boy?
What it do, my baby? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to be part of the show, there's a couple ways to interact. The chat, we love reading from the chat. And of course, the highest priority goes to our super chatters and our members. If you guys want to become a member, there's two tiers, $1.99 or $4.99 a month. You get a whole bunch of perks and all that good stuff, emotes. And whenever Billy has a trash take, you guys could throw a toilet paper roll in the chat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but you want to know how that emote started? Do you remember?
What was it? Was it about the Ricochet thing?
Ricochet,
Yeah.
Ricochet. So
Ricochet.
The toilet paper thing was for Ricochet. But of course, we always interact with the chat. If you're a member, we're going to throw your chats up on the screen as well as super chats. If you guys want, we do have a super chat goal that is active. We love hearing your guys' takes. We love interacting with your guys' takes. All the money that gets made from super chats or members go right back into the show. So feel free to do so if you guys are interested. And of course, last night's episode of Raw was pretty interesting, bro. Pretty interesting.
Very. Billy
was doing a watch along, and he called me. He texted me. He said, "Ango, what did you think of the show?"
That I did. What did you think of the show? I mean, you didn't answer the phone. I had to leave a voicemail. You text me. My chat was wondering. They're like, "Oh my God, why didn't this guy pick up?" So I mean, geez, bro, can you tell them how you feel? They were wondering.
Yeah, man. Last night's Raw was honestly really, really sick. Gotta take off the hat, get serious for a second. Raw was
He ain't
excellent.
got no hair.
Raw was excellent, bro. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
Excellent. Yeah, 10 out of 10 episode. Everything was smooth. Everything kept moving forward. Continuity on a lot of things. I love how they're presenting Rusev. They're fully embracing him as a heel.
Yep.
We have a lot of things that happen in the background that could, potentially become something bigger. Dude, yeah, perfect episode. Like literally just perfect flow, perfect everything.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give them props. Backlash is this Saturday, and shout out to WWE for creating a compelling, pay-per-view within 3 weeks.
They nailed the go-home show for a pay-per-view that had to be booked in 3 weeks. So, yeah, no, I agree 1000%, dude. I thought the show overall was really good. I think in when I was doing my live stream, we do a little rating after. I rated it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll never say perfect because I believe there's always something that can be fixed. I believe that there's always something that can be added to something. But overall, I give it a 9 out of 10 because down the board, like everything was hitting the way that it was supposed to. It was hitting. I mean, starting off with Jay and Paul Heyman, I think really set the tone. Yeah. And I can imagine we'll dig deeper into that here in a couple minutes. But just, man, really nailed it where it needed to be nailed at.
Yeah, I loved how they started the show. And it's one of the things that I have progressively been praising about Triple H and the way that he starts off shows.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Vince McMahon era, it was just so different sometimes. Like it just, and now it just seems like I can't wait until Raw starts. And yesterday with Jay and Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman was really, really, really awesome in his role.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that to me it was good, bro. It was good. Paul Heyman's a G. He's a stud, bro.
I said it on my live stream, man, when he was cutting that promo. It didn't even feel like a promo. It felt like a man who was just venting.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of I think we all know that that's what sets Paul Heyman apart from everybody else is that he is so infatuated with the role that he plays. And it doesn't matter what role he's playing. Yeah. He enjoys it. He understands it. He knows where he needs to be in that role. And just coming out there talking about Roman Reigns, talking about Punk, and talking about all of these different circumstances. And then for him to go out and literally start screaming, like, say, hey, dude, I'm in the right. Like, I'm not wrong. I've been called a liar my whole life. I've been told all of these different things. Like, I even said it during the watch along. I said, man, like, this isn't Paul Heyman cutting a promo. This is Paul Heyman letting out frustration of things that people actually said about him.
Yeah.
And that's what sets him apart. And that's what set that segment apart.
He's a stud, bro. He gets that mic. He makes everything believable. He makes everything incredibly like enjoyable to watch.
For sure.
And you know, for those in the chat who are not Jey Uso fans, you are not going to like this live stream.
No, bro. I even yesterday, bro. I think I said it in the chat. I said, man, I said, where are all them Jey Uso haters at? Bring them here. I want to talk to them.
Yeah.
We need to have a conversation.
From the way the show opened and then obviously the way the show ended, man, I cannot believe it. Like, I'm very, very pleased, and we'll talk about that. Gotta get that yawn out. I swear, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but your boy Ango been grinding. So shout out to Justin Kennington. He's been a member for 26 months.
What a guy.
Ango and Billy are the best, and I think Austin Theory is the third man for Seth's new faction, The Vision. I am in love with this pairing, and you know, obviously we had talked about Seth and Paul Heyman long before it happened.
We did, just so people are aware.
I got what I wanted.
That you did.
And way more, because this is very compelling television. I do not understand how somebody could be against this. This has been so incredibly awesome to watch. Seth Rollins needed that change. And last night's episode, obviously, we saw that Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker are outnumbered. And so, actually, the title of today's episode is Who Will Join Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker?
Who's going to be the guy?
Listen, I understand the dirt sheets are saying, no, there's no more plans for new members. I don't believe that for shit. We saw CM Punk return, Sami Zayn, both Punk and Sami came to the aid of Jey. Jey Uso walked out, still world heavyweight champion. Listen, he says Austin Theory is the third man. What you thinking?
No. I don't hate the idea, but it's not him. I think it's Logan Paul.
You think it's Logan Paul?
Yeah.
And, Billy, why?
Okay, so I've seen so many different names thrown around, and all the names I want to preface have been amazing. Like Bronson Reed, you know, I think Phil said it yesterday. Like, oh, is it too soon for Bronson Reed? I don't know if it's necessarily too soon. I've seen Jeff Cobb. We're obviously talking about Austin Theory, but I actually think that this whole group was created on vision of what the future of WWE looks like. And I think they've done a really good job with adding Braun Breaker. He was a very important piece to that. Seth is obviously the visionary, so he's always seeing that future and what it looks like. When we look at WWE and where it is going currently, whether people want to believe it or not, Logan Paul is that. He is what the WWE is looking to feed more into, that mainstream audience, that, you know, casual fan base, those people that watch Logan Paul on YouTube. You know, WWE is trying to bring those people over to their show. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I look at somebody who is currently trying to grow into the business and trying to find a way to, you know, learn more about it, there is no better person than to sit next to Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. When we look back at what, and again, I know we got a lot of Evolution comparisons, but when we look back at like what Triple H did with Evolution, it was Triple H and Ric Flair. They were the two head honchos. Then they had Batista. He was the heavy hitter. Then they had that one guy who kind of, you know, set apart a little bit differently than the rest of them, that guy being Randy Orton. And people will say, I've seen Ethan Page as one. I've seen Austin as one, all of these. And I genuinely do think Austin is a great idea here. I do want to preface by saying that. But
Mhm.
I also think that Logan Paul fits that mold so well because he is still so young
Mhm.
and he is still trying to grow and learn this business more. And I do think that WWE, and whether or not people hate it, I don't know, but whether you do or don't, regardless of the fact, that is a guy that WWE genuinely sees something in, you know, and they have to find a way to kind of take the cuffs off of him a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think this is going to be a way for him to kind of get those cuffs taken off a little bit, to kind of be more Logan Paul than Logan Paul with a scripted promo out there.
Yeah.
So I could be called crazy here. You could say what you want. I genuinely think Logan Paul fits the mold really well.
I'm not gonna say that it's a terrible idea. The thing about Logan Paul joining, being the third member, the only thing that would be intriguing to me is that Logan Paul is a heat generator. And
For sure.
I think sometimes the WWE universe wants to cheer Seth and Braun Breaker because they're just so fucking cool. Um, so part of me does believe to a certain extent that we could see it happening, because if you want them to get booed, Logan Paul, Seth, and Braun, I mean, it would be
Logan makes the
interesting.
most sense to create that heat.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, I just want to throw this out there. I don't think it's going to be Logan Paul. We're going to
Mhm.
talk more about this in depth. But going back to Austin Theory, I don't think Austin Theory is the third man. I don't think it makes sense for Austin Theory to split away from Grayson Waller and then immediately be moved into this faction. However, I would not be opposed to it being Austin Theory as well. I have more ideas, and we'll definitely talk about it. Shout out to Justin Kennington, Toledo Channel, dropping the first super chat of today's show. The super chat goal is active. 40 rupees. He says, do you think Cross is plotting Kathy Kelly's turn? I do. I actually do. I don't know if anybody saw because
No, because it's during a damn commercial.
it's weird though, because on Netflix, I actually have the ability sometimes, like, I don't pay for ad-free Netflix, but I see it.
Okay, so here, this was a conversation, not to get sidetracked real fast, but this is a conversation that we had in my live chat. We were talking, some people are paying for the ad free and
Yeah.
still getting ads.
Yeah, and I don't pay for ad-free, and I don't
And
get
then you're
ads.
not getting what?
Yeah, it's not, I don't know. I think it's a technical issue with Netflix.
It could be. It
And it's
could
not
be, but
it's not
something's going
consistent.
wrong.
Yeah, it's not consistent for every weekly episode, by the way.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah. Two things I thought when I saw Karrion Kross do this little interview, Kathy Kelly, during the break. He's teasing Killer Cross, which is awesome. And yeah, I do think there is something, there's all this talk about Kathy Kelly becoming a wrestler and or a manager or something. I think there is something to it.
So what happened? I didn't even see what happened.
Just an interview.
Just a little interview.
It's just how he talks and how he talks to her. And
I know he said something about like I'm just the devil's something along those lines.
on the devils you can see versus I'm the devil. I forgot. It was like something, I am the devil that you can see versus the devils they can or something. I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot exactly the exact quote. Bomb ass promo. Really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, Karrion Kross is the man.
He is. Karrion
Can't wait
Kross
to
is the
see.
shit.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't know what they're doing with Kathy Kelly, but she is training for an in-ring return. Not a return, an in-ring / managerial role. So she's been
Be
in
interesting.
the PC.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. I agree. Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. Phil dropping membership for 10 months. He says Seth and Braun versus Punk and Sammy and Jay and Paul as Saturday night's main event, maybe. No way I see Jay Uso and Logan Paul as Saturday night's main event tag teaming together.
No, he's saying like against each other. He's talking about Seth and Braun versus Punk and
Oh,
Sammy as a tag team, and
yeah,
then Jay and Paul.
I see. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was like ADHD / dyslexia kicking in.
I'll clarify. That's why I'm here.
Seth and Braun versus Punk and Sammy would be amazing for Saturday night's main event.
It's a perfect match that'll sell it.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event is already massive. Plus, you got John Cena working it. 100% that should be the direction they go. Logan Paul versus Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event is an interesting choice considering that they're fighting at Backlash.
No, they're not.
However, huh?
No, they're not.
What do you mean?
When did they make that match official?
Am I tripping?
I don't. Yeah, that is not a match on the card. This guy's ADHD.
Maybe you're right. There is a chance you're right.
My friend's ADHD is rolling today.
Dude, I could have sworn I saw the graphic.
No. Yeah,
hold
that's
on.
not. That's not
no. Hold on. I'm taking a look right now. Maybe you're right. But let me just double check.
Oh, I watched the show. I know.
I understand. Right. I watched the show too, but Logan Paul knocked out Jey Uso after the show.
Yeah, for sure. They didn't make it official.
Hold on. Maybe I got sentelled. Hold on.
Yeah, they have Cena and Orton at Backlash.
Okay, you're right. At least according to WWE.com, you're right. So yeah, the graphic I saw. Hey, listen, that's good. That's good though. The graphic that I saw looked so damn realistic, and it made sense because it got posted after.
Dude, I mean, Photoshop's not that hard to use.
Yeah, but it looked legit.
Yeah, I get it.
But also too, you gotta think the Jey Uso getting knocked out by Logan after the show. Which, by the way, was a really cool clip. Triple H was like, the show's not over until it's over or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if that's the case, this is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect. Literally, Jey and Paul at Saturday night's main event. I thought because I saw the graphic and the knockout, I was like, oh, okay, they did make it for Backlash.
But I do think that Jey and Paul at Saturday night's main event, considering that they're not fighting at Backlash, would be great. Yeah. That's a perfect place to have that match.
I'm all for it, yeah. Right hand cam member for 28 months. What a stud. He says Raw's 9 out of 10. Billy TKO last night's stream 10 out of 10.
What a guy. Shout out Cam, man. Cam's the homie. Cam's the homie.
Shout out to Cam. Tolino Channel dropping 100 rupees. He says Seth now need a man who can act like his Shield vest. He now has a brain and muscle in Heyman and Braun. Seth has created an automated system. He does, and he needs somebody to be his ultimate protector. It's listen, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's done with him and Braun Breaker.
No, he needs somebody to take the shot for him.
He does. I think really what that comes down to, though, is a variety of people on the roster could benefit from being put in this position.
Mm-hmm.
One being the guy that takes the pinfalls, not a big deal. But also, when he's not taking pinfalls, that individual should be there to elevate and enhance the group. I'm not opposed to Austin Theory. I'm not opposed to Logan Paul. I feel like if you really want to go all in on this group, and it sucks that Kevin Owens is hurt because he would have been perfect for this.
See, okay, so here's where we disagree.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cut you off for a moment. Where we disagree is that you think that it's supposed, like, people are speculating, like, oh, it could be Ethan Page, or oh, it could be Drew McIntyre, or oh, it could be Kevin Owens, or oh, it could be Austin Theory. All of that is great, but you have to think about like an elevation tactic. Braun Breaker is elevating from being with Seth Rollins. He went from the Intercontinental Championship. They knew they couldn't put him in the World Heavyweight Championship picture, so they stick him with Seth Rollins. That ultimately leads to the World Heavyweight Championship picture. You have to do that same tactic with somebody else. So you have to ask yourself, is it who is really going to benefit from this? Okay, he says Kevin Owens. Is somebody like Kevin Owens actually going to benefit from a group like this?
Yes.
No, because it's not a growth tactic.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, right? You say that, but what did you say 5 minutes ago? You were talking about the comparisons to Evolution, and that's been a constant trend with you talking about the specific group. It's like, oh, it's like Evolution. But here's the thing. It doesn't need to be Evolution. It doesn't need to be, listen, what I'm trying to say is I would prefer a young NXT guy joining this group. 1000%. That's just kind of how I am in general. In fact, if you remember our first stream talking about it, I was the one who said Ethan Page.
For sure.
Right? So I definitely think having an NXT guy makes the most sense because you can elevate an NXT guy in this position. Mm-hmm. However, if we are talking about not just a group that's constantly competing with each other, but a list of guys who have an alliance and they're all managed and they're all clients to Paul Heyman,
Mm-hmm.
Karrion Kross makes sense. Kevin Owens makes sense. Drew McIntyre makes sense. Randy Orton makes sense. CM Punk makes sense.
Yeah,
Because then
if
you're
you talk
putting
about it like that, you can make sense out of just about anybody.
correct. If you are trying to do the elevation thing, the only person that's on the main roster that truly needs the elevation to the main event scene would
Mhm.
be Karrion Kross, Bronson Reed, like those kind of guys. But
Mhm.
but the thing is, that's not what this group is about, because clearly, if you think about this, right, and this is the big talking point that I don't think a lot of people are having, eventually Braun Breaker and Rollins are going to split up. Eventually, it is so
Yeah,
clear
it's
as
it's
day.
yeah.
Paul Heyman will ultimately become
A
a
Braun
Braun Breaker
Breaker,
guy.
yeah. That
Like
is we can fully agree on.
that's the long-term vision, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
to me, the way that I'm looking at this is that third person who joins will have to this isn't the Shield. This isn't they're going to have to go and do their own thing eventually. So it could be an established guy. It could be a Kevin Owens or Drew McIntyre. Obviously, Kevin Owens is hurt. That's not going to happen. But it doesn't necessarily need to be some young up and comer. However, like I love the idea of Karrion Kross, not necessarily because of the fact that he needs to be associated with Seth or Braun Breaker, but Karrion Kross doesn't need somebody to talk for him. But if this is just an alliance, like Karrion Kross can benefit because he is the devil. Like he is the devil and he would be joining this evil group.
For sure.
Now, also at the same time, too, I want to throw this out there. Like Austin Theory needs a new change. He needs
Yeah,
a
he
change
needs
of scenery.
something different, but I think when they go ahead and do what they do with him and Grayson Waller, I think that's going to get him that pop, and it's how they follow up after that I think is
Yeah.
where they're going to put Austin Theory.
And Austin Theory is going to be a babyface.
For sure. For
So
sure.
there is that element of like, you got to look at a guy who's hated, who's a good heel. He's going to generate heat.
Well, if we're talking about that, I know a guy, but
Who?
you say he needs to generate heat.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not even saying this is logical. I want to preface that, and people are going to probably look at me and be like, "Oh, well, that doesn't make sense." But I
Yeah.
mean, when you talk about somebody who like, style, flashy, all of these things, Ludwig.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could do that with Ludwig if you want. It's not a big deal.
Doesn't have much to do right now, but I think, obviously that's a story they'll probably tell with Gunther down the
I
line.
mean, it could be any of those guys in the mid card. It
It
doesn't.
really can.
It doesn't need to be a stylistic thing that where everybody fits. Like
Right.
I think people are like. People love this cohesiveness where everybody's dressed the same and they look the same and they're like this group. That's not what this group is to me. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not about looking good together. It's about everybody establishing their dominance. And like Ludwig is not a bad idea. I think you could throw in Pete Dunne. You could do Sheamus. Like
Mhm.
you could do there's so many people, bro, you can do, honestly. But I think that third spot really should be somebody who gets an established push.
Yeah, so that's really what it's going to depend on, right? Because I see a lot of people, talking about who it could potentially be. I genuinely think it comes down to like, what does WWE want to accomplish? If it's, getting a young guy, then hey, go ahead and do that. If you're looking to maybe establish another mid card guy, okay, you could do that. If you're looking to get a main eventer like a Drew McIntyre, you're allowed to do that. All three of these fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All three things can be true. But I'm gonna stick to my guns here, and I'm gonna go ahead and say Logan. I'm just gonna stick to my own guns.
Yeah.
Is the guy.
And I want to throw this out there too. Trevon Womack says depends on if Cobb goes to NXT or main roster.
For sure.
Because this would be perfect. The WWE universe may not know exactly who he is, but immediately being put in that position would allow people to take him a little bit more serious.
Oh, for sure.
I wouldn't be opposed to that too. I have a lot more opinions on this. Definitely going to talk about it. Tolino Channel followed up with that super chat with another 100 rupees. He says, I want Lyra versus Becky to stretch till Evolution PLE. Becky takes the belt from Lyra, DQ finish in the second match, and climax like Trish versus Becky at Evolution. I'm gonna throw this out there, man. I made a TikTok on it today and a YouTube short. So if you guys aren't following me on TikTok at AngoPW, you guys should. It's a scorching hot take. I am so over Becky Lynch. To me personally, it's not. It's not like it's just not working for me. Lyra Valkyria is carrying this feud. The rookie is killing it. 2 weeks in a row, she is delivering bars on the mic, and she's beating Becky's ass, which tells me that she is going to, in fact, lose the belt at Backlash. I'm not a fan of Becky Lynch right now. I think as a heel, I wanted her as a heel. This is not the heel version of Becky I want. This feels like the same old shtick. I wanted something different. I think the IWC has become increasingly mean to Charlotte Flair. And then Becky Lynch is kind of like in the same spot where she leaves, comes back, and then, championship. I don't know if they have Becky beat Lyra, but Lyra did beat Becky. She did beat Becky in NXT. So this is one of those things where I think Becky wins the belt at Backlash, and we'll talk more about it on the prediction show. But I do think this is one of those things where it should stretch until Evolution. The problem is I don't think it's going to lead to Lyra and Becky at Evolution. I think this will ultimately lead to Bayley getting her lick back, and Bayley is going to be the one who ends up winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship from Becky.
For sure. I think this is the story of Bayley now.
Yeah.
Because if you guys remember, Bayley went on that podcast with Chris and she talked how she talked, and it felt, you almost felt bad for Bayley. And this again is they're creating that like feeling of like, damn, like I feel bad for Bayley. So as much as I'm thinking about Lyra and Becky, because I love the both of them, and I want to go out and say Lyra did amazing yesterday with her promo work.
Yeah.
And she made this feud very believable. And I think it's going to elevate her, because now the main roster gets to see what Lyra and Becky can do, because we've seen it in NXT.
Yeah. And
now we're going to see it on this level, which is going to be exciting. But I ultimately think it comes down to Bayley. Bayley is, and we talk about the Evolution thing. I think that's where you'd see Becky and Bayley is at Evolution. I think they're going to want to have that match there. And I think that it fits there. And the story of Bayley now becomes, okay, well, she's just going to become more of a bigger babyface than what she was before. And that's ultimately what you want if you're creating a babyface.
Yeah.
Very easy story to tell.
Yeah. Very easy story to tell. I'm not sold on Becky currently as it stands with this.
I know. I seen your TikTok, man. Why not?
It's just boring. It's the same old shtick.
Same old shtick.
I want to see her.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that that's such a problem?
Why do I think it is, and why do I think it is a problem, are kind of two different things, right?
Okay. Well, why do you? Let's start with the first one. Why do you think it's rubbing you wrong?
Because she spent all this time away, comes back, and her promos and everything just sounds and looks like the same old Becky Lynch, bro. When she was the man. And I'm sorry, but we don't need that gimmick. It should have been a brand new gimmick. It should have been something completely different. It should have been, like Becky kept talking about respect. Oh, the disrespect, right? Like, bro, the disrespect, you're complaining, you're the bad guy, and you're saying that she disrespected you, but you took out her tag team partner at WrestleMania, and then you stabbed her in the back a day after when you guys lose the titles. You are the villain. You are the problem. And this whole thing of disrespect, it's like, oh, because she's going up against a rookie type thing. Yeah. No, it's not. Like, to me, that is not interesting. What Becky should be doing, in my opinion, if I was booking this, was, hey, I've been gone because I want to have kids, and I want to be a mother, and I want to do this and that and blah, blah. And I took my time off, and I've been waiting for a call from WWE. But the problem is WWE is too busy pushing these young kids up the card like they're really better than me. And they're not better than me. They've never been better than me. Like,
Yeah.
these promos should have been like, I come back and I see Rhea and Io and I see Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown. And I think people forgot about Becky Lynch. And I think people forgot that Becky Lynch is the reason why all these women even have an opportunity on Mondays and Friday nights. But no, you guys, like, it's completely different is my point. She should have been something completely different. And instead she does these promos and it just sounds like the same old Becky Lynch, the man. And it's like, it's just not satisfying to me. It's not enjoyable to me. I don't think her promo skills in this heel character are great. Now, if Becky Lynch would have returned and been a Paul Heyman girl, right? And it would have been completely different. Like, look at Seth Rollins and look at his character evolution, and you see what he's doing with Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been a lot cooler if Becky was the female in that group. And hey, we're coming to take over the company. We're sick of what this company has become. And it's not that. It's really not that. I don't think it's been enjoyable to watch, to be honest.
Now, while I agree that there is some truth to that, I just feel like everything that they did with her yesterday is kind of what you are saying, but the problem with it is her tone, I think, is more of what your problem may be.
It's not believable. And
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And yesterday, the problem is, yes, like, her promo, it is very much similar to what I'm saying. The problem is, though, it shouldn't have been immediately jumping into a program with one individual.
Yeah.
I think the big thing. Like, if she went after Ivy Nile backstage, or, like, better yet, like a nice little callback to the past would have been her going backstage and seeing Maxine. And people remember that one promo where Becky was backstage and Maxine was having a match against Rhea Ripley. And Becky was backstage and she walked past her, walked right back to her and said, hey, this is your first chance at a championship or something, right?
Yeah.
You know, go knock it down or go knock it out or whatever. Do whatever the fucking promo was. I can't remember. But, like, she should have been coming back as a heel, not in the tag team match, not replacing Bayley, not going after Lyra. She should have gone after the entire women's division and said, this makes me sick. I have been gone. I have been doing pressers for Netflix and everything, and I don't get a call to be on TV. So what did I do? I'm taking over this shit. And instead it's, Lyra has no respect. Like, I'm sorry, bro. It's not.
So I just want to go out and say, like, as I do in some ways agree with you. There's also it was up until this morning that I would have fully agreed with you. But when I seen that clip of what she said, you know, and I know it's just cheap heat, right? I think that's a really good way to play into the things that are currently taking place, especially with the Bayley situation. You know, I think and it's going to take time, but she has to gravitate, and there's still a lot of stink. I seen Phil say it in the chat. There's still a lot of stink around the big time Bex thing.
Yeah.
That it's hard to take her serious as a heel. But again, with what I seen yesterday and how she was, I mean, we just kind of watched her get mauled pretty much by Lyra Valkyria, which, if I'm being 100% honest with you, with her being a heel, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Lyra walking in and pretty much mauling over her because, again, she can go out there and say, oh, yeah, I'm being disrespected, da da da. She could do all that. And again, I would have fully agreed with you up until this morning, and I seen that. I just think that you have to give the Becky turn a little more time. I do think there is some kind of stink still around that big time Bex thing.
There's a stink surrounding that and the man character. And I will also say this too, because I don't think people understand why I feel this way, but I was the one fantasy booking for months Becky coming back as a heel.
Yes, we've talked about it numerous times.
Becky needed something different. It's no different than Charlotte Flair the way she came back. She's the queen. This is big time Bex. This is the man. It's just, I want something different for these women. And I'm not asking for much, bro.
The problem with it is that, and I think this is just what WWE has done, because, okay, the same thing that we're saying about Becky Lynch is the same thing that we were saying about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins turning heel, I want something different from him. You remember that was something that I was actually complaining about, right? When in reality, I think, and I'm not, maybe it is a WWE thing. Maybe it's they are coming to this conclusion of like people can't just change everything that they've done.
Yes, they can.
But you have to ask yourself, okay, if she just walked out with a new gimmick and she was a completely different person, would people gravitate towards that? They have to find a way for people to naturally gravitate to somebody. You can't just force something, because the moment that it becomes forced, that's when you complain. And I'm not saying you, but people complain. That's where the complaining comes from. It comes from a place of things not being natural. So if she were to come out and she didn't do the hoorah, look at me at WrestleMania, then you run into that problem of everything that we're witnessing here is not natural. If she's just walking out brand new, I don't like that. I don't want to see that. I don't care for that. There has to be an arc.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I disagree. This is forced. This is forced. This is, hey, Becky, go and be a heel. Oh, and it's the same thing.
Again, and I think as a heel, she has to find something to stick to. And I think you need to let her work as a heel a little bit and see what is going to stick. If you remember the man gimmick, something clicked, something stuck there. Becky wasn't the man until she actually got rocked in the jaw. You have to find something real to make it make sense.
Yeah, so here's the thing. In the process of watching last night, I was already sold on Lyra Valkyria, but for those who may have not been sold on her, this definitely sold
for sure. Very sold on her.
Lyra killed it, and I don't know who tweeted it, so unfortunately this isn't really like my take or whatever, but somebody was like, hey, this was basically WWE's test for Lyra Valkyria to see if she can hang with a top star. And Lyra Valkyria 2 weeks in a row has absolutely performed outstanding. And at least they established that.
Knocked it out the park.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I want to see Bayley and Becky eventually. This needs to turn into something different for Becky. It does. It needs to evolve. I'm sorry.
And I think it will. I think it's going to. I think this is one of those moments. I think this is one of those moments that you have to be patient.
No, this is the problem though. You're telling me to be patient, but she is coming back into the same role. When Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman aligned the very next day, we saw
the same thing.
No, we didn't. You
just seen a guy standing with him. It was the same thing. No. It's Seth going out there and being Seth.
Elevated to a whole different level. He propelled to a whole different level the minute after the turn.
Again, and what do you have to do? You had to wait for that, right?
You waited the following episode.
No. I'm talking about
from night one of WrestleMania.
Because people were complaining. People were complaining. Okay.
No, hold on. I'm not worried about what people are complaining. I'm telling you what I'm saying. Saturday was night one. We saw it. Monday comes Raw. We saw the evolution of Seth Rollins right away.
Right.
Okay, that's my point. We saw the moment that he didn't even turn around to Paul Heyman. He knew the chair was right there. He grabbed it. That was the moment we saw a different Seth Rollins.
For sure.
This is not the architect. This isn't the Messiah. This isn't Seth Rollins.
It's a different version of Seth Rollins. Yes, we agree.
That has completely been propelled due to that moment. So the thing is, even if you did the whole thing with Bayley being removed from the match and Becky's right there, what was really nice about that moment was, okay, clearly we're going to get a heel version of Becky. We got that massive babyface pop, whatever. The Monday after, they should have literally from night 2 to Raw after, it should have been Becky taking out the entire women's division. It shouldn't have been about, they didn't have to break up and lose the tag titles right away. Because now look, Liv Morgan's gone filming a movie. What they could have done, Billy, was they could have had Becky and Lyra Valkyria hold those tag titles, right? And a whole bunch of women could have been laid out backstage, and for weeks, we could have gone through this whole thing of who did it.
We just had that who did it storyline.
Oh, they do who did it storylines every fucking week, Billy. It's not that big of a deal. It's not. You could have had Becky. Nobody would have known it was Becky because Becky was holding the women's tag title, right?
Right.
And then guess what? Couple weeks go by, Ivy Nile was laid out, Maxine was laid out, Natalia was laid out, Raquel Rodriguez was laid out, this person was laid out, that person was laid out. Oh my God, the final person laid out was Lyra Valkyria.
Okay.
Then you could have done a reveal, and then she could have been this new gimmick. And the reason why she took everybody out was because of the fact that she had to do pressers for WWE and sit on the sidelines. She took out Bayley at WrestleMania. The reason why was because if she didn't do it herself, she would be missing WrestleMania. WWE, this multi-billion-dollar company with TKO completely. She should have been a heel that was so anti-WWE and anti the business that she was only in business for herself. That's what
fair.
they should have done.
There you go. I like that. I don't hate that.
We got more super chats to get through.
I know. We just turned that into a real big conversation.
That was a big one.
You were starting to agitate me.
Oh, God.
Just letting you know, bro.
Get the plug out.
Oh, is this... Hey, guys, my t-shirt dropped. BillyTKO.com. There you go.
You heard the news. You're starting to agitate me. The shirt is out. Go ahead and buy it.
BillyTKO.com, baby. Go check it out.
Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. David Primero dropping $1.99. He says, I think Seth's team is starting to get all tanned up. Brother, they were looking orange. They were spray tanned like crazy.
Paul, somebody left a comment on one of my TikToks. They were like, why Paul got like 15 pounds of makeup on?
Yeah, that was wild.
It was, man.
That's a prerequisite to join them.
Yeah, you got.
So you want Logan Paul or Austin Theory? They better learn how to get a nice little spray tan.
Got to get a nice little spray tan.
That shit's so funny, bro. I think it's so funny because Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker are up there as far as worst spray tans go. As far as worst spray tans, it's Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, and freaking MJF.
MJF. Oh man, I was gonna say MJF might have the worst spray tan of all time.
Oh my God, that shit always pops me too because you look and you're like, okay, why is it that bad? Like, do they realize it's that bad before they walk out?
I don't think they do. I think they genuinely look in the mirror and be like, all right, yeah, that's fire.
That is so funny, bro. Shout out to David Primero for the super chat. Billy got a super chat on his channel from Right Hand Cam for $2. He says, I agree with Ango about Becky. It's the same shtick.
There you go. I think for me, I'm going to personally hold out and wait up on this one. I think that there is some type of level of like, we need to understand that things take time. And I understand that maybe this isn't the greatest way to bring Becky back. And I'm willing to agree with people on that. But I do think she just needs to find something to stick to and to actually legitimize her as a heel. And I think that's going to come in due time. But we'll see. Cam, shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Shout out to Cam. We got DJ with a $4.99. He says, I would love for the Lennox color, Osiris, and Saquon to be with Rollins. So Dark State being brought in under Seth. Okay.
He could be like they could be the Hitmen, kind of what the Shield were.
So this is what I would say. I think it's too early for them to be called up.
For sure.
I do.
Absolutely.
I have to be honest. I think it's too early for them to be called up. However, what I do love about this idea, there is one thing in particular that I love about this idea, and I'm just going to throw it out there. If and when they are ready to be called up, if Seth and Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman have their group and they are brought in, I would love nothing more than for those guys to be hired to take out whoever the victim is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to be in the group. I don't want them to be aligned with the group.
You could hire them as hitman almost.
Yes. And that would be a cool way to call up the faction.
I fully agree.
Who took out these guys backstage? And then they make their debut at a freaking pay-per-view. And they're called up and they take them out during a match or something. Oh my God. And then you could see Paul Heyman hand them over some money or a check.
And I think that's like the cool thing about like Dark State too, is they kind of remind me of that because they're just like lunatics. You know what I mean? They're insane.
Yeah.
So they strike me as that type.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think they're ready for call-ups yet.
No, not yet. It's not something that I see within this year or anything like that. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they need to accomplish things down there.
Yeah.
And then bring them up.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of them being a hired hitman. Like,
that is fire.
Like, You know, they're the idea of Paul Heyman just handing them a check, being like, "Pleasure doing business with you
Yeah,
guys."
just handing it over like this or something like that. Oh, dude,
Yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful.
Honestly, if you wanted to do some sort of crossover with the main roster in NXT, you can actually do that.
That would be a
So
good way to introduce them.
yeah, just to kind of remind people they're in NXT as well too.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Shout out
I'll
to
hit them.
DJ. Shout out to DJ for the super chat. Phil dropping $9.99. He says, I love how WWE did this. Sure, it will lead to Becky getting the IC title, but if WWE's job was to get Lyra out of Becky's shadow, it worked, in my opinion. Becky versus Bayley at Evolution for the IC title makes sense. So, yes, if the job was to get Lyra out of Becky's shadow,
They nailed that.
100%.
They
They
nailed
did.
that.
1000%. I would agree they succeeded with that. I don't disagree with that.
We can all agree there.
My concern about Becky versus Bayley at Evolution for the IC title, my only concern about that is Evolution 2 is rumored to be in like June or July.
Okay.
Currently, as it stands, it's May 6th. So if if Becky wins at Backlash, I don't want Bayley to like lose against Becky, you know?
For sure. Yeah. If Bailey's gonna come back, you have to have a triumphant victory.
Yeah.
So July 5th is what's being reported, is what Phil said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that seems a little
the
soon.
That's the rumored date.
Right.
They haven't
It's
announced it.
it's a report. It's not true.
And
Or
I don't
not
want to
fully true.
and I don't want to see Becky have. Personally speaking, I don't want to see Becky with the belt at all.
Well, that's why I was gonna say I don't think that Becky should win the belt. I don't think that that is what's quote unquote best for business, right? Because again, you need to legitimize the Becky Lynch heel turn, and it needs to become like this crash out thing of like Becky losing to this up and comer. And Lyra said it yesterday. It drives you crazy that I was the first person to do this, and for her to ultimately lose that opportunity and not be able would only legitimize and make her more of a serious heel of she is crashing out over this thing because this person lives pretty much rent free in her head.
Yeah.
That would be how I would look at the heel turn and how you legitimize it.
Yeah. I think it would be kind of cool. Honestly, if Lyra Valkyria were to actually win at Backlash because Bayley returned.
That would be perfectly fine.
And then you shift the focus from Lyra to something else with the belt, and then Becky and Bayley start building their feud, and they can feud at Evolution without the belt. But I don't think that's what WWE will do. I personally believe WWE doesn't give a shit about what I have to say right now on the Angle Show Live. And I think they're just going to give Becky the belt because it's the one belt she hasn't held yet. That makes her a true Grand Slam champion, yada, yada, yada.
If that's the case, that sucks.
Yeah, but that's just kind of how I see it going.
Yeah.
Shout out to our boy Phil for the super chat.
Shout out Phil.
We got a super chat from Daniel Moraes for £5. He says, hey, what's up, guys? Just arrived. I would like to see Javon Evans in Seth's group in a spot of a young Orton when he started in Evolution. Okay. I listen.
No, go ahead. Talk about the Evolution thing.
No. Not about the Evolution thing, but because he brought up Javon Evans, I just want to throw this out there. Javon is young. I want to see Javon win the NXT World Championship, bro. I want to see him at the King of NXT as a babyface. I want Javon Evans to go into the main roster and be your next Rob Van Dam, be your next Jeff Hardy. This kid is so awesome, so talented. I don't want to see him as a heel. I genuinely don't want to see him as a heel. I'm sorry. I just don't. So therefore, Daniel, with all respect, and seriously, I hate the idea of him being a heel. I don't want to see Javon Evans do it. I want to see Javon Evans be a baby face. Let him go onto the main roster as your next RVD, as your next Jeff Hardy. Let him be that kind of guy.
That mold. He fits that mold.
And he's going to be so great as a baby face on the main roster of WWE.
They're going to sell so much merchandise. The kids are going to love him. Yeah. He's one of those people that you're just going to be able to latch on to. He definitely, when I hear him talk, he just talks like, how the kids are talking now.
He talks like a normal human being, bro. It don't sound like a promo.
That's what it is. It doesn't sound like a promo. It doesn't sound like he's forcing things. It's like he's hip to the times.
Yeah.
And that is what I love about Javon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's just
Like,
naturally himself, bro.
like he walked up, man, I'll dog walk your ass. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It gets
Yeah,
me hype, bro.
he's good, bro. I like him. He shouldn't be in that spot. Keep him babyface. If you want to see somebody from NXT in that spot, like there's a lot of people from NXT that can move up. Ethan Page.
Yeah, it's what we talked about earlier. There's so
Yeah.
many different names.
Yeah, if Brian Pillman Jr., aka Lexus King, wasn't so annoying with the fake ass beard, he would be fun.
Does he draw that thing in?
He's got a barber that does it.
Does he really?
That's become the gimmick, bro. It's the gimmick. But no Lexus King hate here. I love him on NXT.
He is great. He is great.
But I did say before Miles Bourne. If you guys want to talk about the evolution Randy Orton thing,
yeah, it's Miles Bourne.
Miles Bourne is sick. I love that dude.
He is sick. He is sick.
He's awesome. Shout out to Daniel Moraes for the super chat. David Primero dropping $4.99. He says, I'd rather have Becky on my TV than Charlotte, who takes opportunity from people just because your daddy has political power. Unlike Becky, she worked hard for it.
You hate Ric Flair.
I hate Ric Flair personally. I respect the hell out of Charlotte and Becky. I think it's time for them to do something different because it's the same old shtick.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I think it's the same old thing over and over and over again.
Same shtick, baby. We can agree with that. It is the same shtick.
Yeah. I would be down for, like, since everybody wants to just have factions, I'd be down for Charlotte, Becky, and Bayley to just have a faction,
Yeah, just be a heel faction of like, hey, we ran this place.
And then have them in War Games go up against the up-and-comers.
Yeah, why not?
Roxanne, Julia, Stephanie, Lyra,
Yeah, why not? Count me in.
Yeah.
We're doing factions.
I love factions. You'll never. Hey,
I
told you.
I know.
The best thing AEW ever did was like pull off the New Japan thing with all these factions at the start. Because then as soon as Triple H got into power, he's like, I want to do that. Fuck yes. Beautiful.
Count me in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shout out to David Primero for the $4.99. Right hand cam dropping another super chat on Billy's channel for $5. He says Paul looked like Dirty Brown. Laughing emoji.
Bro, Paul looked really bad. We talked about it earlier. Paul looked like he had on so much makeup, dude. It did not look how it was supposed to.
You think it was makeup or spray tan?
So I've seen so many different, like, people said makeup, people said spray tan. I don't know. Whatever it was, it did not look good, and you could tell. And I think that's when it becomes really bad.
Yeah.
Is when you can actually look at it and tell.
Yeah.
And the fact that so many people have pointed it out is no good. Like you said, just so many bad spray tans. They're all over the place, bro. All over the place. Cam, thank you again for the super chat. Cam's a dog, bro.
Yeah, shout out to Cam. Cam's a real one.
For sure.
We got a $2 super chat from Richard Cohn. He says, hey, Ango, hey, Billy, I don't see Becky being a heel. Well, she is. And she's going to be a heel for a while.
That she is.
I think if Becky wins the belt Saturday, I think she holds that belt all the way till WrestleMania.
Oh God, please no.
And then Lyra versus Becky WrestleMania next year for the IC title again.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case at all. I really do. I hope that they don't strap no belt on her for that long. Because I genuinely don't think they even strap it on her. Because if we're talking about a villain arc, she needs to find one. And that would only legitimize my point more of you need to let things play out.
Yeah.
So I just hope they don't put it on her at all.
Yeah. I'm with it. I'm with it. I think you guys have heard me rant about Becky enough.
Yeah, we talked about Becky. Had that conversation.
Shout out to Richard Cohn for the $2 super chat. Combat Sports Today, my favorite MMA coverage, dropping $1.99. How would you book NXT versus AAA for June 7th? Ooh, I'm excited.
That's a fire question.
I'm excited, bro. I swear, I'm telling you guys right now, this is going to be so fun. We know the list of AAA talent coming into WWE. Mm-hmm. We know Alberto Del Rio is still their champion.
We also know now that Garza and Berto, are going to be doing some work over there.
Yeah, they're doing triple mania.
Yeah.
Let me just double check. I want to double check the date for Triple Mania because I want to say it's June 17th, June 15th.
June 15th.
Okay. This kind of sucks because we'll see how they go about this. I don't want Del Rio or El Patron on Worlds Collide. So, to answer your question, how would I book NXT versus AAA for June 7th? The answer is simple. Let's make this a little bit bigger than WWE and AAA. Let's throw in Pro Wrestling Noah.
And let's throw in TNA.
Let's throw in TNA.
Oh.
The reason for this is because at Triple Mania, we will see TNA and WWE both involved.
Yep.
Joe Hendry and the Hardys have been announced for Triple Mania. So
fire.
Awesome. WWE, we got, ooh, it's going to be so sick, man. Maybe we get the Hardys and Berto and Garza. And oh my God, I can't wait to see what they cook up for Triple Mania. So this is what we do. This is a week before Triple Mania. I would do a fatal 4-way match. One person from TNA, one person from Noah, one person from NXT, and one person from AAA. Okay. Hopefully, by this point in time, Alberto El Patron does not have the championship because this should be for the AAA Mega Championship belt. Okay. This is their world title. I'm calling it right now. Vikingo should be the world champion for AAA, and he should go into Triple Mania as world champion.
We can hope that is what is going to take place. I hope so.
I want to see. Ooh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited for this card. It is so hard to say how I would book it, though, because we have to start seeing WWE implement some of the AAA guys immediately into NXT programming.
Yeah.
And there was a little birdie, a little whisper, a little thing that I got told was that we will see a few AAA guys on NXT programming within this month.
Okay.
Is that Dr. Wagner? Is it Vikingo?
Nobody knows yet.
Is
obviously.
it Nino Hamburger Racer? Like, I don't know. Is it Lahidra? I don't know. But
we know that it's happening potentially.
But that was the whisper I was told, is that we are going to start,
which would make sense because it is a month away.
It is a month away. How I would book it, no matter what, main event, fatal 4-way. I would have TNA, NXT, Noah, and AAA. I just don't want Alberto El Patron on this card. I don't want him on the show. I don't want him in WWE. I don't want him in AAA. I'm not a fan of the guy
alone.
Yeah. We'll see how they go about it. But I do think Vikingo should be the world champion. I think booking this card, it should be every single match should have wrestlers from both organizations. If they don't add TNA, if they don't add Noah, I think this should be WWE versus AAA.
I agree.
Simple as that.
I agree.
Now the real question is, who do you put in that situation? I think you can't just look at NXT, by the way. Like, I think when you have the Lucha Bros and Penta and Rey Fenix, you have Garza and Berto.
Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee. Like, you have these guys from Mexico. I think we're going to see some of those main roster guys on the card. We'll see how they go about it, but Worlds Collide is going to be so fucking badass. No matter who's on the card, I think
it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that show. I'm excited. I'm excited for somebody who doesn't often keep up with AAA. I know the talent that's there.
Yeah.
But it's going to be cool to see them on this bigger scale and this bigger stage.
And it would be so cool too with like TNA's involvement. It's like, dude, do an X division. And it's tough because Moose is holding the belt currently. But like, man, if you had Leon Slater holding the belt, imagine you did an X division match, Leon Slater, Javon Evans, and Vikingo.
Like, come on, bro. Who's not watching that?
Yeah. Or for example, Octagon Jr. is now signed to TNA, but he's obviously from AAA. So like, you can even bring him in the mix. I don't know. Like, there's so much you can do. So much you can do.
For sure.
Crazy to think it's a month away.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
Super exciting.
June 7th.
Shout out to CST for the $1.99. Tolino channel coming through with 100 rupees. With Julia on Raw, will Asuka and Kari turn on Sky and align with Julia? Julia needs a stable to have a program. Maybe Kathy can align also. Let's remove Kathy Kelly from the conversation. For a second. Dakota Kai is gone from the company. Io Sky's on her own. Kairi Sane and Asuka are off television. What happens to Damage Control moving forward?
I think this is the perfect time to create that split. I don't even think Asuka and Kyrie should even be a tag team anymore. Just if we're getting rid of that tag team division, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Asuka can shine on her own. I would actually like to see somebody like Kyrie and Julia. I think
Yeah.
that would be cool. And you can grab another person and throw them into that mix. I don't know. It's hard to say. You know what I mean? I don't hate this. I
Yeah.
don't hate what Tolino Channel here has created. I'm actually a big fan of this on the surface of like if that tag team division wasn't where it's at right now, I would be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I definitely think that Kyrie fits with Julia. Asuka can shine on her own.
I hate saying take from Lucha Underground,
Mm-hmm.
but there are rumors that Mayu Iwatani could be bound for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, Kairi Sane and Io Sky were all part of the the Black Lotus Triad faction thing that they had.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see something like that. I would like to see them. Honestly, I would make a super faction here if they got Julia. Maybe do a new Damage Control. Julia, Kari, Asuka, Io.
But you also have to play into the fact that they're doing something with Roxanne.
So here's okay. Hold on. Yes, but you can actually have, honestly, if you really want, Asuka, Kari, Julia together.
Yeah.
Turn on Io because Io is the baby face.
Yeah.
Clearly, at this point, Io's babyface. You can't really
For
go
sure.
away from that.
Yeah, she can't be. She's the baby face here. Good guy all around.
Keep them Damage Control. Call them something different. I don't care. Start the new faction. Get away from Io. Let Io be babyface.
Yep.
Julia being in the group. Good with that. You did mention Roxanne. There was the photo that's lurking around on social media.
Finn
But anybody
Balor.
who watched Raw, Finn Balor, that's a whole different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that in mind.
Okay. That's fair.
That's how I'm looking at it.
That's cool with me. But I do not hate that super chat.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Shout out to Tolino Channel. DJ dropping $1.99. Bailey, Becky, Flair, and Natalia as a heel faction. If Natalia is the Natty Neidhart that we are seeing outside of WWE, I'm with it.
Count me in. She could be the fighter of the group, ready to just fight.
Yeah, I have no complaints about that, I swear.
No, I watched one of her TikTok clips that she uploaded for I forget what it was. She has a match coming up. And dude, she was just talking about like how she's been held down. They haven't let her be the real person that she is. Yeah. I'm like, yo, we need this on TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with it. Count me in for that if we're getting that version of her.
Yeah. Definitely not opposed to this. Natty needs to be taken seriously. She's killing it outside of WWE.
Man, she's
I said, it's old school OGs versus the new school.
Yeah, that's war games.
That should be war games, yeah.
Yeah. But there is talk that because we talked about it yesterday, that war games might not actually be taking place this year. And it may actually just be, regular Survivor Series.
Where did that come from?
It's just been floating around. Like my chat brought it up yesterday. I'm not 100% sure that it's true. But there is been, apparently, from what they say, there has been some talks about it just being like a regular Survivor Series with no war game stipulation attached to it.
I don't believe that because on the logo for Survivor Series San Diego, it shows the cage.
Does it? I haven't even seen the logo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it shows the cage. It doesn't say war games, but it does show the cage.
Well, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It's war games. But I'm down.
It better be.
OGs versus new school.
Count me in.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to DJ for the $1.99. Phil dropping $4.99. He says, I know it may be too soon for Julia, but can we call up Roxanne? She's done everything in NXT and she's been ready since Stand and Deliver last year. Yeah, she's pretty much called up at this point.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, how they haven't necessarily been called up, but the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, they're there.
Yeah.
I love the oh my god, Io and Roxanne. It's good shit, bro.
It is very good shit.
It's
Very,
really
very
good
good shit.
shit.
Very, very good shit, man.
The Roxanne's been ready since literally the day she was in ROH. She's been ready.
She
She didn't
gets
even have
it.
to. She didn't even have to go to NXT. I mean, I'm glad that she did because we've got some awesome stuff in NXT. But
She's
she didn't
amazing
have
though.
to be. Yeah.
Love Roxanne.
Shout out to Phil for the super chat. Billy,
And go.
we got to talk about it. Jey Uso, Seth Rollins. Where them haters at?
Yeah,
Yeet.
bro. Where
Yeet.
all my haters at?
Bro.
So like I said, I need to bring the Jey Uso haters and I gotta have a conversation with them.
Let's hear it.
I don't know why anybody is going out there and hating on what Jey Uso is doing. I understand that Jey Uso isn't everybody's favorite champion. He's not your champion. He's not your wrestling champion. He's not the guy getting down in the nitty gritty and putting on the 5-star bangers you want to see. I understand that. But what he is captivating. He's exciting. He's resilient. He makes you want to be a believer. And I love that about Jey Uso. Jey Uso makes me feel something. And to anybody who would disagree with me here, I just have to say that I do believe that we're not watching the product the same. I believe that we're looking at it from two different point of views. And the right way would be to look at it like this. Jey Uso is the guy that WWE looks at to take to the top. And look at him and be like, this is our guy because he makes me feel something. So to all the haters out there, I just have to say, go back, watch last night, watch the match that happened. Ask yourself, man, do I feel anything when I watch this? Is it just because of Seth Rollins that I feel something? I'm here to tell you that it's not. Jey Uso helped you create that feeling. When he sat down with Paul Heyman, he helped you create that feeling. Jey Uso added to that feeling. When he tapped out Gunther, he helped you create that feeling. If you hate Jey Uso, you are not watching wrestling the right way, in my personal opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong. No. It's just my personal opinion. Jey Uso is the guy. I've seen people talking about, oh, Jay's just going to drop the belt, to Seth Rollins, and they were never going to do that. They wanted you to believe that because you were never a believer in him. And now, with everything that we've seen last night, if you can't say for certain that, hey, I'm a believer in this guy, I think you may need to go back and reevaluate and go watch that again.
Yeah, that was some really incredible stuff. Jay versus Sammy was such a great match. Such a great match. And then you got the shenanigans, which is fine. I have no problem with the shenanigans. You kind of needed to. Obviously, Punk returned. I still am not sold on Sammy being the ultimate good guy. And I think when we talk about a third member, I think the answer has been in front of us this entire time. I think Sammy, I don't know, he becomes a third guy, but I don't think Sammy is going to be aligned with Jay, and I don't think he should be aligned with anybody really. But I don't buy for a second that Sami Zayn is remaining a babyface. I just don't. Long term, I just don't think it's happening.
Long term, I don't think it is the case.
I think he turns heel and goes after Jay. But it was such a great match, man. And those people who are hating on Jey Uso, like, I think last night shut up a lot of people because it was such a great. Him and Seth were just awesome, bro. Like, just awesome. And I like to get emotionally attached to a match. Like, one person, I say this so often, but like Roman Reigns is just so good at these like near pinfalls. And there was so much drama in this match where I started to genuinely believe for a second. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna have Seth win.
Dude, when I tell you the drama that I felt, like I think it was when the splash happened.
Yeah.
And then he kicked out.
Yep.
I was like, damn, they got me. I was like, I for sure was sold that we were getting a clean victory here.
Yep.
And that to me is insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, big time.
Billy got a super chat on his channel from Right Hand Cam, $5. He says, shout out to Billy and Ango. Y'all keep it 100. No bias comments. Y'all don't talk about anyone bad just to prop someone else up. Y'all keep it pure. Yeah.
Thank you, Cam. That's what we try to pride ourselves on, is we're not here to hate on anybody. Not here to bring down anybody. We're just here to talk about pro wrestling and enjoy it with all of you guys.
I think one of the things about pro wrestling is we all love it.
Yes,
And
that's the one thing that all of us gravitating in this, in whether it be on my channel, on your channel, the one thing that we all gravitate towards is that we all love pro wrestling, whether it's AEW, whether it's WWE, we all just love it and are passionate about it. And what Ango and I are trying to achieve here is just putting ourselves and our takes out there for you guys, and hopefully you guys could agree, disagree, whatever.
absolutely.
I love what we do, man. I have to say that, to get real with this for a second, I love what we do.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, I agree. Yeah, I don't know, man. I never thought I'd be doing this for what, 15 years, 14 years?
Yeah, dude, you've been doing it a long time. And, I talked about it a little bit at the end of my live stream yesterday. You got to give you your flowers, and I try to as much as I can, but you're not a softie, and I am.
Yeah.
So just to say thank you for everything that you've done for me. Want to just give you your flowers.
You're welcome, bro. Make me proud. Keep growing.
You know it, brother.
Shout out to Cam for the super
Shout
chat on
out
Billy's
Cam.
channel. Bruce504 dropping $2. He says, do you think Bailey is AEW bound? Billy, the floor is yours.
So, okay. So people talked about it. Obviously, after that whole Chris Van Vliet interview, people were kind of speculating because Bailey talked about she only had like a year left or a year and a half left on her contract. I do think that Bailey is going to be one of those people that does cross over and go to AEW. If you were to ask me that like 4 years ago, I would have told you differently. But today, where we stand, I do believe that she could potentially be AEW bound, considering the friendship that she does have with Mercedes Moné, and just maybe wanting to go out there and just try different things. You can't hate on somebody for wanting to go try different things. And if things become stagnant in a certain place, and I'm not even saying that they are stagnant for her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if things do become stagnant, again, we talk about the pro wrestling industry being healthy. That was a conversation that we had yesterday. Like, it is so healthy that if she wanted to, she could do that. And like, everybody's still going to shine the way that they would, regardless of the fact. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that's the cool part about where we're at in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I hope she never goes there.
This guy.
I'm being serious. Why? So her career could die out? I know you keep saying the Mercedes thing, but what has Mercedes actually done in AEW that's been enjoyable?
Nothing's been like groundbreaking.
No, nothing's been enjoyable, let alone groundbreaking. It's not. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. I'm not gonna put on a fake smile. Bailey goes to AEW and is just another person on AEW's roster. AEW doesn't need Bailey. She should stick around in WWE. She could be a WWE lifer. WWE is always gonna take care of her. WWE literally didn't have her on WrestleMania, and Triple H comes out and says she's an absolute pro. I already talked about this earlier. She got taken out by Becky. WWE's not dumb. WWE puts it in your face. She is going to go after Becky. She's going to be a prominent person on this roster because she always has been. People could sit here and act like WWE didn't give her a lengthy championship reign when they did. She did the damage control thing. She had her moments at SummerSlam. This is somebody who is constantly in the mix on WWE programming. This is not something where people could sit here and be like, oh, WWE dropped the ball with her. No. They've taken care of her. She's been a very prominent person in the WWE. She goes to AEW. She can't be Bailey anymore, which means she no longer has an identity. She's not going to draw in AEW. She's not going to go to AEW and make AEW absolutely famous, just like everybody said they would with Mercedes. Sasha Banks was the name value, not Mercedes Moné. It's just not happening. Bailey's name value is under Bailey. It's not Pam Martinez or whatever else people want to call her, Davina Rose. It doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, the way I look at this is Bailey is staying in WWE. I don't think she's going to leave. And I'm going to say this for all the sickos out there to hear me loud and clear. She can go to AEW, and honestly, it would be ass. She wouldn't be great in AEW because AEW has shown us with Mercedes you can't do anything great. It's funny because if we look at Toni Storm, she went off in AEW and she does great in AEW. that's fine. That's not going to happen to everybody else. So I just want to be very, very clear. The answer from Ango is absolutely the F not.
Ango, you're a hater.
Loud and proud, baby.
You're a hater.
Loud and proud. Shout out to Bruce for the $2 super chat. Billy got a super chat on his channel for $4.99. He says, Jay put on a banger. That boy can do it. Also, I want to see Vikingo in the Money in the Bank match. Yes.
Jonathan, that would be fire. That would be super fire. We'll start with Jay put on a banger. That boy can do it. Again, where are all the haters at? Are they there?
Yeet.
Yeet, you feel me? Jay is the man. He solidified that last night. He told you that he fits in all of these realms and he is a main event player. I'm not sure if you guys seen that chain he was wearing. That iced out gold chain is said main event for a reason because he is indeed the main event. But Vikingo in the Money in the Bank match, count me in.
Yeah.
Count me in a billion times.
Yeet.
Yeet. Jonathan, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat, man.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree across the board. Vikingo and Money in the Bank would be great. And if you want to promote AAA, if you're WWE, like having Vikingo in these matchups, like it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Well, because he fits that style and he fits that like ladder match mold. He's one of those people that you're gonna look at him after that. If you've never seen him, you're gonna look at him after that ladder match and be like, okay, this is a guy I want to go look at more.
The amount of Vikingo matches I've seen in person, and when this guy does the 630 splash thing, like
bro, the Kenny Omega match that he had in AEW, I'm not sure if people remember that. That match was insane.
Yeah, another guy that they featured, and would you look at that? He's
okay.
in WWE now.
I didn't mention that to let you go hating on AEW. That's not what that was.
No, it's just hey Ango, what you should say, Billy, is hey Ango, you're actually right, dude. You've been right.
You have been.
AEW featuring talents that aren't contracted to their company is a dumb decision. You were right, Ango. You said it for years. They shouldn't do it. I know I'm right. You don't got to tell me, but you should have told me. That's what you should have said.
Oh, now you're telling me what I should and shouldn't do.
Here's the script, buddy. You follow the script on the Ango show.
Oh, guys, yeah, I'm scripted on here. I'm scripted. The only thing we had scripted was when I turned heel on you, and it backfired on you.
Yeah. Good times. Shout out to Jonathan for the super chat on Billy's channel. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
For sure.
Raw was awesome. NXT, I'm excited for it tonight. We'll see what happens. I think this is the perfect spot to leave off of.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
For sure. I'll be live tonight. Come pull up. NXT watch along. I'm going to be live with Phil.
Nice. Billy and Phil will be live. Make sure you guys check them out. Cool. Shout out to everybody. I want to give a shout out to everybody who dropped a super chat. We're going to go down the list. Tolino Channel coming through with multiple super chats. David Primero, Right Hand Cam, DJ Noel, Phil, Daniel Moraes, David Primero, I already said him, Richard Cohn, Combat Sports Today. Who else? And Jonathan Lazarga, as well as Bruce 504. Shout out to y'all. Thank you guys. We hit our super chat goal. Hope you guys all have a wonderful Tuesday. It's May 6, 2025. This has been the Ango Show, and we'll see you guys next time.
Deuces.